The Bible, Quran, and various Jewish scriptures have a rich history of creatures, monsters, and general lore, with many similarities and differences. We'll be looking at genies, demons, fallen angels, and other bizarre creatures. First, let's start with the primordial beasts. First of all, we have the behemoth, that is present in the book of Job, who is described as a powerful grass-eating animal, whose bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. A creature that God made so powerful that only He could subdue it. Then we have the Leviathan, appearing in several biblical books. It is described as a multi-headed primordial sea serpent. Some speculate its origins to be the Ugaritic sea monster Lotan, in ancient Middle Eastern mythology. Various Jewish legends talk about how the righteous will witness a spectacular battle between the behemoth and the Leviathan, where they will consume the creature's flesh afterwards. Lastly, we have one more primordial beast, that is the lesser known Ziz, a sort of giant griffin bird found in Jewish texts, that has been passed down mostly by oral and is only once mentioned in the Bible in the book of the Psalms. Now let's look at the Quran, where we have genies, also known as jinn. Genies are spirits who are said to be invisible to mankind, who exist parallel to humans, and like us they can be good or bad, and have the choice to accept or either reject Islam. They are shapeshifters. They can take the form of various animals and inhabit inanimate objects. They are thought also to be capable of causing disease, sandstorms, and seizures, among other things. And they are willing to retaliate against anyone who has hurt them intentionally or by accident. The origins of jinn predate Islam and have existed in several pagan religions, though their role from tutelary deity has been reduced to spirits in Islam, that they are not innately good or bad and are subject to judgment from Allah. Existing in a multitude of different cultures spanning all the way from Maghreb to India, with a plethora of different variations and beliefs existing around them, with different variations of the jinn being most notably shaitan, who are evil spirits in Islam that tempt humans into sin. They are created from hellfire and are mentioned in the non-canonical book of Enoch. Furthermore, Iblis, Islam's counterpart of Satan, was thought to be a jinn, but more on that later. Let's look at the angel hierarchy in the Bible. The most notable type of angels would be cherub, who are seen as throne bearers of God. They are described as winged beings with human or animal-like characteristics. Then we have the seraph, who are seen as the highest ranking angels in the hierarchy, guardians of the throne of God, described as having 2 to 3 wings. They appear in the book of Isaiah in the Old Testament as 6-winged creatures. Most infamously, we have the fallen angels, with their prince being Lucifer himself. Lucifer, who was the most beautiful and perfect angel, before becoming arrogant and trying to take God's place. He and those who had followed him in his endeavor were cast away from heaven and became demons, with Lucifer becoming the devil. To return to the genies, we have Iblis, who is Satan's counterpart in Islam. Though Muslim scholars debate if he was an angel or genie, they're probably more inclined on the latter, since angels are incapable of sin by their very own nature in Islam, while genies can. Some explanations are that he was a genie who inappropriately found himself among the angels of heaven. There are 4 beasts that appear in the book of Daniel, that tells the tale of 4 kingdoms before the ends of time. The first is described as a lion with 6 wings, representing the Babylon kingdom. The second is described as a bear, representing the Medo-Persian Empire. The third is like a leopard, but with 4 heads and wings, representing the Greek Empire. The fourth and final one is the beast with bronze claws and large iron teeth. It crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. This beast represents the Roman Empire that triumphs over the rest before the end of time and of humanity. There is debate surrounding this one, but he is generally seen as not the devil himself, but rather the polar opposite of Jesus, a false prophet, representing those that impersonate Jesus before the second coming, where Jesus will return. That the Antichrist will reign terribly before the last judgment, but will be finally defeated by Jesus. This figure is mentioned in the book of Revelations as two beasts. The first beast is said to rise out of the sea and is described as having 7 heads and 10 horns. A second beast emerges out of the earth and forces everyone to obey the first beast. The two beasts influence and deceive the kings of earth. And on the day of judgment, the apocalypse, the two beasts will join forces against God, with Satan, who will be represented as a dragon, but they will be ultimately defeated by God. The Bible contains a plethora of bizarre creatures, such as a cockatrice. A cockatrice present in the King James Bible, which is a 2-legged dragon with a rooster's head. The King James Bible also mentions a unicorn, which is how they interpreted the word Reem, which originally designated an auroch, the ancestor of modern-day cattle. Lastly, we have Nephilims, who are mysterious beings that are referenced in the books of Numbers and Genesis, who are said to be unusually large in size. But it's only in the book of Enoch where they are really developed. The book of Enoch, which is a non-canonical scripture, states that they are offspring of the fallen angels with mortal women, and are therefore condemned.